Hey, this is Russell Moore. We've been doing Reading in Exile, and we're going to start back up with that here momentarily. I'll probably post it today, maybe tomorrow. I don't know. I'll figure out. Maybe later on today. But in the meantime, a lot of you have been asking for Crossing the Jukebox, which if some of you remember, it was a podcast I used to do years ago where I would take a different song, usually a country music song, and sort of explore themes in that song. Stopped doing it because I realized I didn't have the copyright to play the songs. But some people have been saying, why don't you take this opportunity to do it again? Maybe if you want me to start back up the Cross the Jukebox, let me know. And maybe we will. But today I want to do a special revival of the Crossing the Jukebox to talk about Kenny Rogers. Kenny Rogers, of course, died this week. There's a really moving video by Dolly Parton, just right down the road from where I am now, actually, in her house, talking about Kenny Rogers and her life with him. But probably most people who don't know a lot about Kenny Rogers, the song that comes immediately to their mind would be The Gambler. And he had a lot of amazing hits that resonated far outside of his world. You picked a fine time to leave me, Lucille, Ruby, Don't Take Your Love to Town, Coward of the County, so forth. But The Gambler really seems to resonate with people. I saw an Instagram video just this morning from my friend Jason Gray's musician. It's an amazing tribute to Kenny Rogers where he's singing The Gambler. Check it out. So when you think about that song, I think one of the reasons that this song hits with people, part of it is just Kenny Rogers' voice is so evocative. And Kenny Rogers himself had this sort of natural likability. I was sort of disappointed and taken aback when his New York Times obituary mentioned the Seinfeld episode of Kenny Rogers Roasters with Kramer, the light shining into his apartment, because I thought, this man's life is so much more than that pop culture reference. So part of it was just his personal kind of charisma, but part of it had to do with the story of the song. So when you think about what's happening in this song, it is a kind of seemingly coincidental conversation. So he's sitting on a train. He meets this guy, doesn't know anything about this guy, and the guy's a gambler. And so what happens in the song is that the gambler is able to perceive in the narrator of the song something about his life on the basis of just being able to read people. So there's a kind of intuition that is present there that he ties to the ability to be able to tell how the cards are stacked with you and against you. And so there's something about this sort of these coincidental meetings, these coincidental conversations that I think everybody gets, because all of us have had those. We've all had those meetings with people that maybe we don't remember them very much, but we remember something that was said to us. I can think about all sorts of things that people have said to me in just these kind of chance meetings that have stuck with me over the years in ways that, are just much more monumental than the experience itself. So that's actually something that's kind of a theme in Kenny Rogers. You think about one of my favorite songs of his with Dolly Parton is a song called You Can't Make Old Friends. And they're talking about the need for these old and deep friendships. And so I'd encourage you to check that out on YouTube. But this is not about an old friendship. This is about not even a friendship, but just an acquaintance who says one word and it changes everything for this person. And it changes everything on the basis of a kind of intuition that's present there. And also, I think, because the song really is about death. It's about the shortness of life. So the gambler takes his last breath and he's gone. And you think about it, there's a sense of triviality in terms of everything he's been doing before. He's been playing cards and making money. And what good is that going to do him now, as Jesus told us in the parable of the rich fool? You build all of these storehouses, and it's all gone at death. But also the fact that all of those things, those decisions being made in this phase of life are kind of going out into eternity. So the narrator of the song kind of hears that refrain after the death of the gambler. You got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. So the decisions he was making in life are monumental at the point of his death. I think that resonates with people because it's something we intuitionally know is true, that those decisions that we're making in terms of the kind of person that we're becoming, the sorts of adversities that come against us, all of that is shaping us and forming us in ways that we don't really see or recognize, and shaping us and forming us in ways that are going to have eternal implications. So, I mean, we're living in a really dark and anxious time right now. And it's a time when it's a good opportunity to reflect on death. I mean, when you think about the death of Kenny Rogers, realize all of us are going to die. We see reports of deaths all over the world. And there's a sense in which we could become anxious and fearful, or we could reflect on what life really means. We could reflect on what experiences in our life have been preparing us for, that are deeper and bigger than just this little vapor bubble of life that we have right now. And we can learn when to hold them and when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run. And that means, I think, to run into the arms and into the vision of Jesus Christ. That's Kenny Rogers. That's The Gambler. If you want us to do more of these, let me know, and we'll be back with Reading in Exile.